about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our latest live stream. We have hi, Craig. How are you? You all right?
I'm good, Duncan. Great.
Excellent.
Two more days.
2 more days till the exam, yeah. And so we are doing 2 more live streams this week, aren't we? We're doing tonight, which is the Crime and Deviance topic mix, and then tomorrow we'll do our pre-exam warm-up and Q&A for Crime and Deviance and Theory and Methods. So that's where you can ask us anything. But our focus today is very much on Crime and Deviance, and we've got a range of activities, range of topics to cover. People are coming in with questions as well. We will keep an eye on your questions, although I have to say, if it's, do you think so-and-so's going to come up or whatever, we don't know. Okay, but shall we get cracking? First activity.
Let's get started. If you've been with us throughout this series, you'll know that we usually start with a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've not been with us, we ask you to name 5 of something, 4 of something, 3 of something, 2 of something, 1 of something. It's pretty straightforward. We get 2 minutes to do it, and we can start putting your answers into the chat window. So today we're looking for 5 explanations for gender differences in crime for Marxists who researched crime and deviance. 3, now by Marxists we also mean neo-Marxists as well. 3 types of crime influenced by globalization, 2 sociologists who we would associate with green crime, and 1 explanation for the persistence of state crimes. And people have already started in the window, so let's run our clock. Jake's coming straight away. Owen's coming. Caitlin. People talking about control theory, gender socialization, sex role theory, lack of opportunities, which kind of comes under control theories, I think. Chivalry thesis, liberation thesis, some excellent stuff there. Mia's gone with sex role theory on top of those other ones that are there. May, talking about prostitution, drug, and identity theft, types of crime influenced by globalization, of course. Okay, chivalry, double standards, class and gender deals, family structures, patriarchy. Yeah, class and gender deals is a good one. White and Wolf, excellent. Yeah, that's for sociologists associated with green crime. I left Wolf off because I didn't think as many people would know that one. But yes, well, anyway. South, yes, Nigel South, sort of like as well. Sam's coming with smuggling and cyber crime, I'm assuming types of globalization. Chambliss, Snyder, Gordon, Althusser for Marxist research, crime and deviance, excellent. Snyder, Chambliss, Pierce, and Taylor, excellent.
Yeah, very good. We've got Hall somewhere as well, and Gordon.
Wilson, I'm not quite sure which one's that for.
Yeah,
Wilson's kind of a right realist, so I don't know where that would. So I don't think it's on there. They may have. Can we turn the music down?
I can a bit if you want. Yeah, is it too loud?
Somebody just mentioned it in the chat window. Daniel's coming with Chambliss, Sutherland, Taylor, Walton and Young for neo-Marxists from Abigail, Mia, cybercrime, drug trafficking. Chloe's coming for number 1, lack of political will to tackle it. Excellent.
Yeah, we also had techniques of neutralization. Someone put.
That's a nice one. I think just in the techniques of neutralization is just in the 10-mark video that we've just done on state crime. Callum has come in with cyber, immigration, illegal, and green crime. Hay has said they create the law. I'm assuming that's for persistence of state crimes. Daisy's come back. It just flew through there.
Amazing.
Yeah, what did
the state creates the law so they can get away with it? Hay put the state creates the law so they can get away with it. Very good. Loads of
chivalry thesis, nation's own laws, excellent. Really, cybercrime mafia I just saw there going through private and public spheres. So I'm assuming that's linking to hidden zones, control theory, spiral of denial.
And
double transgression. I like that one. Okay, let's look at some of the answers then. Although we could be here all day reading out these answers because they're so good. So let's show our answers. Yes, I went with sex role theory, hegemonic masculinity, class and gender deal, control theory, chivalry thesis. There were some other really good answers that came in there. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head that also went through. I think net widening, double deviance. Yeah, lots of really good points.
Yeah.
Number 4. Snyder, Chambliss, Pierce and Gordon I went with. Other people may have put some of the neo-Marxists, so Hall, Taylor, Walton and Young, Gilroy and others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Double deviance is usually associated with hidden zone, Jake. The idea that women, when they go into court, they're tried not only for going against the norms and values of society, but also the norms and values of femininity.
Someone asked about how does hegemonic masculinity impact on crime?
Well, particularly with gender, it's kind of linked closely into this kind of idea of sex role theory. Men are socialized into a hegemonic masculinity, which is rough, tough, not backing down, and therefore what happens is they're more likely to commit crime because of the way they're socialized, and you can link that into the work of Messerschmitt or Connell as well. Okay, so thought double deviance was smart. Smart can talk about double deviance as well. Well done, Twix.
Yep.
Okay, number 3, organised crime, cybercrime, green crime. We had lots of other ones in there as well. I was looking for the broad types of crime because if you've got a question on globalization, you might be able to apply some of these crimes to it. But lots of people gave those very specific crimes, mostly involved in different forms of trafficking.
Someone asked whether someone just recently on there asked whether state crime could be a type of crime influenced by globalization. Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Particularly our ability to see state crime. With the growth of technology, we're able to see state crimes that exist elsewhere. It's harder for governments to cover up state crime with the growth of media.
Bear in mind, because a few people have said, "Oh, what about this type of crime? What about that crime? Or how does this crime?" Always just think about how you can link it to globalization. There'll be a feature of globalization that you can link it to. So that might be political globalization, perhaps you could link with state crime, because we can see, for example, the ICC issuing a arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin, that kind of thing. And then we also got, like, someone was asking about green crime. Well, environmental pollution and things crosses national borders and all that.
How it's transgressive.
And the solutions are global. Yeah.
Is it a crime to love Duncan?
I don't know about
okay.
That. Okay.
So South and White I've put for green crime. Some people also talked about Wolf. Some people mentioned Beck as well, sort of in Global Risk Society.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 1. And again, I've gone with Spiral of Denial, Techniques of Neutralization. Lots of other ones that people could have came up with because they make the law. Yeah. And that's it. So, okay. Next
so a couple of the questions people are asking in the chat window might come up in later activities, so we'll save them for the time being. Big reveal.
Speaking of which, it might come up in one of these activities, some of the answers to those questions. Okay, in our big reveal, what we do is we're going to reveal clues. So essentially, what this could be is these are potential answers to a question, if you like. They all are linked by a specific theme. What we have given you is the sociologist, and what we would like you to do is to try and guess the kind of theme that links them all together. Or these could be sociologists that you would use to answer a specific question on this topic. Okay, so let's reveal our first one. Lee and Young. What do you think our topic is? We've got Lee and Young. It could be quite broad. Duncan's getting a lot of love today.
I know, yeah. Lee and Young, there's lots of things that could be including.
Lots of people coming up correctly identifying Lee and Young as left realists. Yeah. Let's reveal
could link it to. Yeah.
Oh, somebody said subcultures too. Relative deprivation, socialization. Okay. Let's reveal our second one, see if they all still kick in. So Hall et al. That's Stuart Hall. Is it Critchley? I'm trying to think who are the other people who are involved in that research now. We always say Hall et al, but we forget that there are others involved in this research.
Was this policing the crisis in particular?
Yes. So people are going black muggers, neo-Marxist, race, ethnicity. Lots of people coming through now with ethnicity and crime, policing the crisis. So we've got Lee and Young and Hall et al. There's something that links those two. Let's see if we can join. Let's put a third one in and see. Phillips and Bowling.
Incidentally, especially this close to the exam, if any names come up that you're not familiar with, do not panic. You will know other people you could link to it. A few people saying media. I've seen a couple of people saying media. Other people saying the youth. And someone saying 10 million % ethnicity, lol.
Is that 10 million? There was just lots of zeros after that.
I know. I was guessing the zeros, to be honest. I didn't spend a lot of time.
It's a good shout. I think ethnicity certainly does link these three. Number 4. Waddington et al. If there's any questions, sorry. Yeah. This is my users has got it straight away. Stop and search.
Well, that's what Waddington et al. was about, yeah.
Excellent. Good shout.
And Myers pointed out that Bowling and Phillips was about ethnic minorities underprotected and over-policed.
Yeah, discriminatory policing and, yeah.
So a few people asking who's Waddington. Waddington et al. Did a piece of research into stop and search, and it was a police-funded piece of research, which is an interesting bit for theory and methods as well in terms of values, etc. And they concluded that actually stop and search wasn't disproportionate compared with the available population of the people who were out and about in the areas that were being policed at the times when stop and searches took place. The fact that they focused on kind of areas that were predominantly ethnically diverse had absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever. That's what we've just said, Sophia. We were just explaining that. You're obviously very eager to know that with all the with the full caps on. Let's look at our 5th one. Paul Gilroy, yes, excellent. So, like most people identified this early on, it is about ethnicity. Okay, it is about ethnicity and crime. So if you were to get a 30 marker, say for example on ethnicity and crime, you could use all of these different pieces of research to explain why there are different patterns in offending and victimization in some instances too. And you probably know for those of you going, who are these, whatever, you will know other people that you could use if you got that essay, but these are some that you could use.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, because this include things like, the McPherson Report, Lamy Review, lots of other things in there. We've just selected 5 that kind of come together.
Yeah.
Somebody, okay, yeah, Myth of Black Criminality was Gilroy, that's right, yes. Okay, so Cohen. I know this really doesn't narrow it down, but Cohen. I've not even said which Cohen. Let's see if we can link these together. Cohen. What do we think?
Oh, could be any of the Cohens, though, couldn't it?
And that's why we're thinking. So Seth's gone there and sort of gone subcultures. This is my user said interactionism. Katie's gone with media. Yeah, okay, let's reveal a second one. People go strain theory, status frustration. Okay, let's go number 2. See if we can narrow it down a bit. Ooh. Bauman. Zygmunt Bauman. Somebody did ask before. Yeah. Is he a Marxist? No, he's more closely associated with kind of... He comes up with kind of theories that are associated with... He talks about liquid modernity. So he's kind of more in that late modernist, Zygmunt Bauman. People going hyper-reality, media, state crime, status frustration, focal concerns. Okay. I will say the right answer's gone through. Kalman and Hamilton.
Don't worry if you've not heard that one. Won't be in every textbook.
No. Media and crime for sure. Somebody said state crime.
Yeah, they did write some stuff on state crime.
If I tell you about Kalman and Hamilton, it might give it away. So I'll do that at the end, okay? Number 4. Where is Sahal? I think that might mean Sarah. Sarah's not here this week. She's kind of busy probably prepping her own students. Green and Ward. Well, somebody's already beaten me to what Kalman. I'll come back to that.
Yeah. Lots of people saying state crime.
And they are very, very close. And McLaughlin, 4 different types of state crime. It was state crime. Well done. Mia has talked about Kalman and Hamilton in there. Excellent. So Mia's answered the question for you, looking at the different types of obedience and the way in which people obey authority in terms of state crime. So you could use these should you get a question on state crime. And of course, it is Stan Cohen at the top that we were talking about in techniques of neutralization and spiral of denial.
Someone was asking
just to answer that question crime.
Yeah, it was spiral of denial, which may come up again later. Okay, spiral thing,
yes.
All the absolutely. Okay,
indeed. Let's look at another one.
What's this one going to be? Oh,
it's Cohen. It's deliberately Cohen again, but which Cohen?
Is it the same one?
Could we talk about Michalowski? Yes, you could mention Michalowski in with state crime as well. I think Kramer and Michalowski talk about state corporate crimes. And so you can bring those in there.
Some people suggesting subcultures. Some people saying
subcultures, class and crime, media,
functionalism. All these are possible.
Few going through there.
Yeah, if it's media subculture, if it's the other Cohen, it depends which Cohen it is.
If it's the other Cohen, Gerbner et al.
Again,
might give this away. Actually,
don't know it. If you know it.
People saying subcultures, people saying labeling, deviancy amplification, status frustration, sociological theories of crime. Yeah, that's a good one.
Or few people going media.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people suggesting Gerbner doesn't exist, and which isn't true. But few people going media, absolutely. Okay.
Gerbner et al. Okay, let's next one. Felsen.
Again, my usual thing. If you don't know the name, don't worry, you'll know someone else.
You might know the concepts they talk about as well. And again, lots of people coming through with media. Let's see. Look at number 4. Surratt. This will be one everyone will go,
I'm sticking with my don't worry if you've not heard of them.
Yeah.
Lots of people saying
the last one should
media.
Get it. And lots of people got it after about 2 or 3 actually.
Got it.
But the Felsen. Felsen's dramatic fallacy, age fallacy, the way the media represented different people. Surratt talks about the law of opposites,
which
the way in which the media...
DXNI05 got, which is very impressive.
Excellent,
and
yeah.
Loads of people spotted Surratt was sorry, that Galton and Rouge's news values, but lots of people
McRobbie
also saying you could talk about McRobbie, you could talk about Thornton, you could.
McRobbie and Thornton's a really good one for sort of like kind of if you were talking about moral panics and sort of like how McRobbie and Thornton say that they actually disperse a lot easier. Moral panics don't have the same impact as they used to because they disperse a lot easier and become part of the mainstream very quickly, particularly in terms of youth subcultures.
So in this case, we are talking about Stan Cohen again because of the Folk Devils and Moral Panics study there.
I like that. Why's Cohen always got to give his 2 pence about everything? Have you heard? Have you done sociology? Durkheim, Parsons, Marx. They talk about everything all the time. Yes, it was media and crime. Well done to spot people. Postman, yes, Postman does talk about impacts of media. How you would apply it specifically in a crime essay, if you've got the application for it there, yes, you could do. Yeah. Is this what we think is going to come up? No. We know that sociology is going to come up. We've kind of just selected some stuff that we think might boost your confidence or things that you might know. I know it's not really boosting your confidence when everyone's going, who the hell's that? Who the Felsen is that? Yeah.
Someone said, can we leave Postman in childhood, please? Yes, if you want to leave. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yes,
okay. Right. So we have got subcultural theories. Lots of people were wanting the last one to be about subcultural theories when Cohen came up. So we're on to that Cohen now. The last two when we had Cohen, it was Stan Cohen. But you could potentially include Albert Cohen in this one. And other people. Can you give 2 arguments to support the idea that subcultural theories explain criminal behaviour today? Some people are already coming up with arguments against, which is impressive. I've seen people put in Matzer and lots of things coming up for against. Argument against, it only focuses on the individual, ignores other factors such as gender, ethnicity, etc. Okay, so Julius has put support Miller, Cloward and Olin, Cohen. So you've given me some names of sociologists that wrote about it, which is excellent. Very good. What does it explain? What sort of... How could we talk about it?
Okay, so answers coming through. Strain assumes value consensus, relative deprivation, Carol Smart, male, although it's flicked through very quickly there.
They are coming through. Some people are linking it to... People are linking it to... status frustration, differential opportunities. That's very good. Sorry if I'm missing some excellent points. Some people are pointing out very correctly that when we talk about subcultures, if it doesn't specifically say sort of functionalist subcultures, there's all sorts of other sociologists talk about subcultures, and people are linking it to more left realist type ideas about subculture, which is excellent, very good, marginalisation and that kind of thing. Okay, shall we have a look? Miller says it's not the rejection of dominant values, but rather overconform to the subculture. People linking it to functionalism, conflict, formation of subcultures, conflict, retreatist and criminal, linking to Clode and Olin. Could you link Willis and learning to labour? You could, but you'd need to add that little bit on to get it towards crime rather than just anti-school. But lots and lots of people. Sewell, you could, absolutely. You don't have to go with just the old functionalists. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. So, explains why crime is committed by groups. Now, criminals conform to the norms of the group, and you can link that very much to sort of something like Cohen. It helps to explain non-utilitarian crime. Why do people commit crimes that they're not going to materially benefit from? That isn't going to get them the American dream, if you like, from the sort of strain theory type thing. Well, maybe it's because they have status frustration, or they're all that kind of thing. Okay. And then lots of people... and loads of other really good answers coming up there about different types of subcultures, like from Jung, and lots of other stuff coming on there. Very good. Then on the critic side, lots of people have already put some really good ones down for this. Probably going to be the same. Let's have a quick look, because because people have already done it. Lots of people said Matt's well done. So Matt suggests we all have mainstream values and these subterranean ones, and we drift between the two. The little typo in there, sorry. And then there's also, which I think someone put up earlier as another criticism of it, it tends to just focus on working class boys for the most part. And so it's actually a fairly narrow area of criminal behaviour. What about white collar crime? What about corporate crime? They talk about it being about working class boys without really ever talking about gender. So if you think about, someone mentioned Carol Smart earlier about sort of male stream criminology, there's this kind of gender blindness here, which is like we're talking about boys, but we're not, but at the same time we're not. Okay, loads of really good points coming up, and people have moved on to all sorts of other things. Okay, including mostly sociology, but then the odd slightly random thing coming up in there as well. Okay.
There's a question there. Could you criticise Haydn's Zone no longer being relevant? It's certainly an evaluation that we see a lot of. The idea that Haydn's Zone was writing, it's like the same, women are excessively controlled in the public and the private sphere. And we could say that, you can kind of counter that with liberation thesis and the idea that
Adler,
that women actually have more freedom now than they do. And it's certainly a valid criticism of Haydn's Zone. So our bubble quiz. We number of correct answers is between 0 and 4. What we want you to do is put in the answers that you think are correct. So which of the following are features of a moral panic? Public fear and overreaction, accurate reflection of rising crime, media exaggeration of a social problem, identification of folk devils.
So remember, they might all be right. They might be, some of them might be none of them. Yeah.
People have got this straight away. ACD, excellent, really good. Yeah, moral panic includes public fear and overreaction. The media exaggerates a social problem. They identify a folk devil, and this then generates public fear and overreaction. We could also put in there something, obviously, clamp down from authorities as well. And these are the kind of stages of a moral panic that if you were to get a question on something like moral panics, you need to talk about in your analysis the ability, how that moral panic takes hold. Question number 2. Right realism is most associated with which of the following? Now, what I would say is identify the ones that are put there with that are right realist. Is whole folk devils?
Yeah.
No, it's Cohen.
Oh, sorry,
We're
Cohen.
having a bit of Stan Cohen.
Sorry, Stan Cohen. Yeah, it was Stan Cohen. Yeah.
Stan Cohen. But some of those ideas...
Stuart Hall borrowed the ideas of moral panics when he talked about policing the crisis. He did borrow Stan Cohen's ideas in there, but he added a more Marxist spin on it. Lots of people going ACD again.
Yeah. And ACD is correct. ACDC, yeah. Sorry, I was just... In my head, I was doing the Ali McCoy thing. Doing the Ali McCoy thing, going, there's no ACDC. Yeah, sorry. Never mind. Zero tolerance, policing, rational choice theory, and broken windows theory. Yes, they are all part of right realist approaches. Fully social theory is a neo-Marxist or critical criminology approach, to give it its proper title. According to Haydn's Zone, women are controlled by patriarchal power in which areas?
Oh, we've talked about this already.
Literally just mentioned this a few seconds ago. Ali McCoist has been mentioned, yeah.
And yes, there is a stream tomorrow, Rohan, which will be a Q&A.
That was my Scottish accent. It wasn't Duncan's Scottish accent.
No.
They've got us confused. At work, in the military, at home, in public spaces. It's ACDC again.
Have we just got ACD on all of them? It's meant to be completely random.
It is completely random. How's that worked?
I don't know. There's
clearly something wrong with the kind of algorithm behind the scenes or something.
We had one the other day when they were almost all bees, weren't they? On a yeah.
That was last week with Sarah, yeah. We do
Abigail,
have videos on theories and methods.
Yeah, lots and lots. Yeah.
They would be in the military, but it's not something that Haydn's Zone mentioned.
No,
okay.
No.
So which sociologist associated with crime and globalization?
Well, nice and broad.
No, we did crimes and globalization before, didn't we? Castells, Carlin, Foucault, Hobbes and Dunningham.
So Quite a lot
people
of
are going AD. Some people are going ACD. I wonder why. Maybe because every other question's been ACD. This one is not ACD, I will say. I'm sure Foucault will. I mean, I don't. Foucault's not really associated with globalization.
No,
I mean,
really. Wrote in an era of globalization, I suppose.
But no, I think he kind of. I mean, globalization's happened has occurred for a long period of time, but what we tend to see is the period of globalization, or what we refer to on this spec, let's say, as globalization is kind of from the 80s. I think Foucault had passed away by then, hadn't he?
Oh, I'll have to check Foucault's years.
Foucault passed away by then? 1980s, I think he passed away.
Sure. I think you might be right.
Foucault is the panopticon, yeah.
That might come up later.
The correct answers are Castells.
1984, by the way. Yeah, it was AD.
Castells,
lots of people said that earlier.
Hobbes and Dunningham.
Yeah. A few people saying, what did they say? Lots of people asking, what did either of them say?
It is AD. Carlin talks about the gender and class deals. Somebody had asked there. Gunveen had asked there. Carlin talks about the gender and class deals, and Foucault talks about the panopticon, surveillance society, and sort of like self-surveillance, and how we internalize it, and we've now got a form of self-discipline.
What did Castells and Hobbes and Dunningham say? Sorry, lots of people asked about
Castells
that. Although Myers
Castells is. Have she? Okay. Castells is kind of like network society, sort of like in the spread of globalization. Castells, you often will talk about sort of like when they talk about the scale of global crime and how the global criminal economy is worth about 10% of the global economy, roughly, give or take $1 trillion or so. And Hobbes and Dunningham. Sorry, I'm just going to go back in my head here. Hobbes and Dunningham. I've forgotten off the top of my head. Hobbes and Dunningham. It's globalization and crime.
Isn't it globalization?
No.
Is it all
globalization? Yes.
Yeah.
Globalization and talking about sort of like how it links into organized criminal networks. It's just completely left my head.
Yeah, Sophie's got that as well. Well done. Yeah, so it's like kind of how global and local at the same time. Oh, and Anouk got it as well on spherically art. Well done. Lots of you getting that. Local.
I'm having a middle-aged man moment. Sorry.
It's all right. Oh,
and
he gave the answer away to this one earlier, but
oh yeah, is it ACD?
Don't think so. No. Okay.
No.
No.
Yeah, this shows you how much of a middle-aged man moment I'm having. I gave away the answer already. So according to Foucault, modern forms of punishment are based on A, physical punishment, B, surveillance, panopticism, and self-discipline.
So lots of people saying
talking about BCD.
Which is great.
BCD is correct.
It is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Physical punishment is our old form, whereas Foucault talks about now psychological kind of punishment.
And these link together because the kind of surveillance leads to self-surveillance and therefore self-discipline that you assume you're being watched and therefore don't deviate. Okay. Right, we've got an activity now called Confusing Pairs. Now, someone earlier was asking in the chat window what's the difference between primary and secondary green crime. So we've got two key terms. We've got some definitions, brief definitions next to them. Are they the right way around, or do we need to switch them? Scott Chegg suggests we need to switch them. What do we think? The people saying no are saying they're not. They don't match up correctly. We need to switch them. Let's have a look. Absolutely right. Okay, so primary green crime is the direct crime against the environment. So if it directly is impacting the environment, then that is primary. Secondary, when South explains it, it gets a little bit confusing because some of his examples don't fully match with this, but it's essentially crimes that are associated with the protection of environmental or the breaches of environmental laws. So, for example, in this case, the crime would be fraudulently falsifying emissions data, which links to green crime. So, but they could include things like terrorism or murder or or all sorts of things could be a secondary green crime, depending on the circumstances. Okay. Next one, we've got environmental crime prevention and situational crime prevention. Sorry, Craig.
Just a question from me there. Are just stop oil protesters who get arrested secondary green crime?
Well, that's an interesting one. wouldn't normally describe that. It would normally be actions being taken against environmentalists would be, but I mean it's so the one that sometimes gets used is the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior, which was a Greenpeace ship, but it's an interesting idea. Nigel Southby wrote an article about it. Was a little bit vague, a bit on the question of secondary, so you sometimes get a range of things on there.
I think if the state committed an action against them that was deemed to be illegal, and of course this becomes very subjective, then the act that the state had committed would be a secondary green crime, wouldn't it?
Yeah, secondary green.
So if they arrest, but we don't want to confuse you too much 2 days before an exam.
No, absolutely not. Jesse was given the example of the Volkswagen emissions scandal, which is a really good example of secondary green crime. Yeah, okay, so lots of people are saying we need to switch these. So let's have a look. You are absolutely right. So situational crime prevention is the things where it's target hardening and designing out. Yeah, it's things where you're assuming that the criminal is making a rational decision. That's the thing to think about with situational crime prevention. You're assuming the criminal is going to make a rational decision, a cost benefit analysis. Well, it's going to, it's too hard to commit this crime, or I'm going to get caught. Whereas environmental crime prevention is much more like that kind of broken windows and zero tolerance type stuff. It's about controlling the environment in various ways. Okay. Yeah.
It is linked with the ideas of Clark. Somebody keeps on us talking about Ron Clark.
Yeah.
Particularly situational crime prevention, because obviously it links into rational choice theory.
Okay, now we've got 2 types
and
of
also
discretion.
the work of James Q. Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson and Kellys. Yeah, we've got a couple of discretion ones now. So thinking about police discretion, got structural discretion and cultural discretion. For structural discretion, are these the right way around? People are saying swap, switch. Shall we have a look? You are right. Are they all going to be swatch and switch ones? Okay, yeah. So cultural discretion is like that canteen culture idea, that it's part of the workplace culture that people might be discriminatory, whereas structural would be more like that it reflects the structures of societies. That's more like a Marxist perspective. Yeah, where in this example, for example, controlling the proletariat on behalf of the bourgeoisie. But you could link it into questions about criminal justice system, police and policing, social control. Okay. And then we've mentioned this a few times today, and we have mentioned how these two things are related. But we've got the spiral of denial and techniques of neutralization, one of which was very much developed from and based on the other. But are these the right way around? Lots of people saying stay, keep. And those of you saying keep, you are correct. Yeah, spiral of denial is Cohen's idea that states have a spiral of denial when they're being accused of committing state crimes. First of all, say we didn't do it, then they'll say we had to do it, and then, or you did it, or it wasn't our fault, or it was for a higher purpose. Techniques of neutralization is very similar, but it's kind of more about individual crimes rather than state crimes. That people might appeal to a higher authority, or say they didn't mean to, or they did it for their family or their beliefs or something like that, to try and justify what they've done. And then we've got a bit of strain theory, retreatist and rebel. Do these need to switch, or are they okay? We've got a mixture coming with this one. What do we think? Oh no, more people saying keep now. Some of them might have been from the previous one potentially. This is again keep. Yeah, so retreatism, rejecting the means and the goals, and retreating from society altogether. Rebels also reject the means and the goals, but seek to replace them with different means and goals as a rebel, rather than just retreating from society. Okay, excellent. I'm going to bring us back to the. I would say the studio. We're not in a studio. Very clearly, we're in our own homes. But for some reason, I call it the studio at this point. Lots of people talking in there. Very good. So we are we are meeting again tomorrow at 5. So a few people in here were saying, are you going to do the question and answers and stuff today? That isn't the plan for today. Plan for today is revision activities on Crime and Deviance. The plan for tomorrow is we're going to answer your questions about Crime and Deviance and also the theory and methods aspect of the course as well. So do tune in. Do you need a beard to be good at sociology? No, you can be really good at sociology without a beard. So
Sarah, Anna, Katie, they're
absolutely
all really good at sociology, and not one of them has got a beard.
Yeah. And most of you guys, I'm sure, as well. I'm not saying most of you are good at sociology. Most of you haven't got beards. Was my assumption, which may be wrong. But yeah, feel free to grow on anyway, as people are saying in there. Oh, people saying, no, there wasn't a question.
Is sociology a meta-narrative?
I'm sorry, there wasn't a question, Will.
I know. Okay. I didn't go with it. That.
No. Do you need specific examples of crime? So we're just going to, just before we go, I will answer. Well, I will have a talk about this one. Just very briefly, and then we will go. And also, is it okay if you use more theories than sociologists because I struggle with names? Okay, let's answer both of those, and then we'll go. So, do you need to use specific examples of crimes? Depends a bit on the question, but ordinarily I would say no. But if you're doing something like maybe about state crime or corporate crime, an example of a corporate crime or a state committing an atrocity or something like that would help illustrate your point. So, and actually, sometimes that might be an alternative to a sociologist, or a name might be a topical example or a real world example if you know some. But don't. I think about it if not.
certainly for some of the like with the 10 markers that I've just put up there, I think there's one on like surveillance and there's one on state crime that we've just recorded and done. I've used an example of state crimes in there to back up a theory, and so if you do know them, you can use them and apply them.
Can be good.
And I think that's a really useful way of showing deeper understanding, that getting those kind of that analysis in.
And the other point is, and this I think is particularly relevant when perhaps a couple of the activities earlier had a lot of names in them, which is just, it's good to try and remember these names and stuff for quick revision type activities. The concepts are always more important than the names. So if you can remember the arguments, the points, the studies, or the theories and the concepts that they were associated with, but you can't quite remember who said it, don't panic about that for a moment. And never think, I won't include that because I can't remember who said it. Include it. And if you think you can remember who said it, have a go, because you're not going to get marked down for getting the wrong name if you've misremembered. Okay.
Just a quick question there. Could I use hypodermic syringe and Bobo doll experiments for media and crime? You certainly can, depending on the question. So the way in which the media can potentially cause crime, you could use that social learning theory, kind of the Bobo doll, desensitization, imitation, and hypodermic syringe you can use as well. Sort of the way in which the media drip feeds you with this
absolutely stuff. Can you hear the ice cream van in the background? Did it come over the mic?
Did you get an ice cream last week, by the way?
I did, yeah.
I never asked you whether you got an ice cream after you were sort of saying, I think somebody's bought me an ice cream.
It's very exciting. Okay, right. Thanks, guys. And I will...
we shall see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, 5:00 for our last Sociology live stream of 2020. Well, of the 2024-25 academic year. And of
academic year,
people. Yep. Okay, cheers, guys. See you soon.